I know it's not tomorrow yet, but come on in anyhow for a moment. This is the place we call our Hall of Wonders. Really quite a place. This is filled with things that people have wondered about. Let me show you some of them. For example, one day a fellow struck a couple of stones together and he got some sparks, and he wondered if there wasn't some use for those sparks. And there was. Fire. Here's a fellow who wondered if there wasn't an easier way to push that big heavy log along the ground, so he put some small logs underneath it. He found a way. Now we call it the wheel. Here's a very famous wanderer over here, Mr. C. Columbus, a gentleman who wondered what was over the horizon, and the man who went and looked and found the world's greatest and most beautiful real estate development. Then the American pioneers, they were wanderers too. They kept wondering what was over this mountain range and the next mountain range. In fact, we Americans have been wanderers since our very first days. We've not only wondered, we've dreamed about things and dared to do something about those dreams. We've made those dreams work. Alexander Graham Bell here. He wondered if he could send a voice through a wire. And Tom Edison wondered. He wondered if he could perhaps light the world through a wire. And the Wright brothers wondered if man could fly. And here are a couple of wonderful people. They're wonderful because they inspired those others. And they're real people. And you ought to know them. In fact, if you don't know them, you're not in business. Because that's the American consumer family. The business is wondering what Mr. and Mrs. America want, and then seeing that they get it. They've kept inventors and engineers busy wondering since the earliest days. Someone wondered if there wasn't a better, more convenient way. And there is. Wonder if we can find an easier way to do that. We can. We Americans have wanted things that we've only dreamed about. And things that we've never even dreamed about have often been given to us. For example, we're the most moving about people on the earth. We've never lost our interest in better transportation. Yet it took a dreamer to think of getting rid of the horse. Into the automobile have gone more engineering, more designing, more know-how than any other product in history. Yet it took dreamers, hi dreamer, to do this job, starting way back. Let me show you one of the ideas that a dreamer had for the car. To keep from scaring other horses, he put that on the front. You really did. Oh, and then there was this delight, the hand crank, you remember? This kept engineers happy for years, trying to figure out some way to get rid of it. They tried clockwork and compressed air and rubber bands and gunpowder and whatnot, but they didn't succeed until one day, many years ago, when an early General Motors research laboratory engineer named Charles Kettering, who was a very practical man, decided to try one of his inventions, which he called the electric starter. Well, of course, now we use the little key instead of the big old hand crank. Through the years, it's been like that. People saying, why can't we fix this so people will like it better? And someone else saying, well, let's try. The closed body gave the why can't we dreamers and the let's try engineers some problems. Problems which couldn't possibly be solved. So they solved them anyway and made automotive history. What started with trying to get in out of the rain has kept 3 generations of engineers mighty busy. This seems to prove that there's more than one way to solve every problem. And 2, it proves that dreamers are never satisfied. You know what this is? It's one of those old floor-mounted gear shift levers. Once a lot of people wondered if we couldn't get along without these. Some were researchers looking for things that had never been thought of before. And their slogan was, I wonder if we can. Design engineers, developing new ways of making things better, said, well, let's try. And production engineers, seeing to it that new products could be manufactured economically, they said, sure, we can make it, but we have a few improvements. Still others were testing engineers, making sure that the new products are safe and dependable and durable. And many, many times they said, it works, but we can make it better. This just because someone wondered what it'd be like to drive without having to shift gears. And along with the new idea in automatic transmission came new ideas for engines with more power and more economy. Suppose I'd been sitting in a car like this several years ago and I'd said to you, gee, wouldn't it be swell if steering were real easy like this, especially when you're standing still? Well, you would have said to me,
we're already working on that.
And so we have been, for a long time. We make a few thousand drawings and blueprints. We build and test, maybe 100 experimental models. Then, if we and the practical designers and the hard-headed production men and the skeptical testers have done our jobs right, well, then the factory men can turn yesterday's dream of effortless power steering into today's reality. Now, that looked easy, didn't it? And I'm not a bit tired. I want you to see an exhibit now of early American art, one that I whipped up back in the 4th grade. This is the Garroway Dream Car, a real super-duper macaroni special. I was mighty proud of this, I remember. Of course, I didn't have much to go by about this time. I remember Dad had just traded in the family car, which looked like this, for a brand new beauty. Every few years, the family pride and joy would get traded in on a new model. And you can see for yourself how more than 40 years have changed her. Advanced styling has always been the result of designers dreaming a little ahead of the public's desires and engineers making those dreams practical as soon as the public was ready for them. And even while Mr. and Mrs. America are enjoying today's family car with all its comfort and performance and safety and economy, the designers and the builders and the testers are already at work to make it better for tomorrow. Well, there's been a lot of change for the better in this department, too. I remember my mother used to say there's a little of the boy in every man and a little of the tomboy in every girl. And I think she was right. I think that explains the way we feel about sports cars these days. Well, here's about the happiest automobile I've ever seen. The men who designed this had fun. And the builders and the testers had fun. And while it's never going to take the place of the family car, I, for one, am going to have a lot of fun owning it. Now, this could never have happened unless the world's largest manufacturer of automobiles had put its tremendous resources back of the job of designing and building a sports car to uphold American leadership in every field of transportation. They built her to handle like an angel, with every ounce of weight right where it belongs for perfect balance, clean and sleek and efficient looking, and light and strong. And they kept the cockpit simple and practical. For the power plant, they started with the finest valve and head engine. Some extra special features of higher compression, triple side draft carburetors, and dual exhaust give her 160 horsepower. Naturally, the automatic transmission quadrant's on the floor. That's in keeping with sports car tradition. In addition to the speedometer, there's a tachometer to measure engine revolutions. They call her Corvette, and she belongs to the highway just for the sheer and simple joy of driving, for the open road and the country byway, for Mr. and Mrs. America in a carefree mood. Boy, what a car.
Your Chevrolet is built to take a lot of punishment, far beyond anything you will ever give to it. Just how much will it take? Well, Chevrolet engineers put the car through plenty of torture to find out. And here's a special test to prove what this car is made of. Towed along at over 40 miles an hour, the car is released as a ramp smashes against the front wheel with tons of force. And Chevrolet can take it standing up. Of course, you'll never be driving your car under such conditions, but do you realize that even on ordinary roads like this, road bumps actually keep smashing up at the wheels with tons of force? And because these road shocks are unevenly distributed, the frame and body are under constant twisting strains that also represent tons of force. Yes, even in everyday driving, our Chevrolet has to take a lot of punishment from forces like these and from other elements too. Inside the engine, the precision-built, tight-fitting pistons slide up and down millions of times in a few months of driving. The engine generates enough heat to heat the average house, yet pistons and valves work perfectly with almost no attention. Whatever the weather, wherever we drive, the engine, brakes, body, and frame of all cars are put through a continual grueling torture test. Fortunately, Chevrolet is built right and built to take it. In spite of this punishment, we and our families are aware only of a smooth-running, dependable mechanism that gives us less trouble than almost any other fine mechanism we own. When we drive our motor cars, we have a right to expect the best in comfort, safety, durability, performance, appearance, and economy at all times. These are things we want to keep for the life of our cars. To keep fine precision machinery operating at top efficiency calls for fine maintenance tools and specialized equipment. It takes genuine Chevrolet replacement parts built to the same precision standards as the parts that are already in your Chevrolet. And you and your family want the security of knowing that your car is in the hands of men who are experts in their work and can do the job right for you. The first step in Chevrolet service is to find out exactly what needs to be done. The second step is to do the job right, and do it right the first time.
Good morning, Mr. Gleason.
Morning, Bill. Have a moment to spare?
Always for you. Car giving you trouble?
Well, not exactly trouble. It just doesn't seem to have the old snap, you know. A little rough at low speeds.
Doesn't sound too serious. We can check the engine while you wait if you have a few minutes. Mind pulling into that space?
Okay.
I think you'll find this interesting. No guesswork, Mr. Gleason. We find out for sure.
Motor analyzer. That's quite a machine.
We believe the finest equipment is necessary to our kind of service. This machine is a real time and money saver, too. Now, you said your motor was running rough at slow speed.
Your Chevrolet serviceman welcomes all of the information you can give him about the way your car is behaving as against the performance standards you set for it. But before he starts to do any actual work, he double checks to make sure he knows exactly what the trouble is. To do this job of finding the trouble, your Chevrolet dealer has the finest scientific equipment. He has time-proved, accurate instruments with which to test and analyze, to almost look right inside to check the operation of every unit in your engine. Compression and cylinder balance for smooth running, distributor and ignition timing, generator output for the efficient operation of your electrical system, and for top performance with economy, an analysis is made of carburetor and fuel system adjustments. Precision instruments show the skilled mechanic the condition of each unit, just as delicate instruments help the doctor in making his diagnosis.
Just needs a tune-up, eh? That was very interesting. How long will... Oh, by the way, that reminds me. While I'm here, there's something else.
You mean that fender again?
That fender again. I've suggested to Mrs. Gleason to either widen the driveway or get a narrower car. Or paint the house to match the car.
Oh, well, I guess a woman has the right to change color schemes once in a while. By the way, it's about time for lubrication, isn't it? Shall I check?
It's overtime. I'm glad you mentioned it. Can you do it all so that I can pick up the car at 5?
I'm sure, but let me check. Chuck, We're going to do a motor tune-up on Mr. Gleason's car. It also needs a lubrication job, and there's a spot to touch up on the right front fender. Just paint, no bumping. Can you schedule it for delivery at 5?
Tune-up, lube, touch-up? Sure, 5's okay.
It will be ready at 5, Mr. Gleason.
Thanks, Bill. She's all yours.
Fine, but before you leave, would you take the time to ride around the block with me? Just to make sure there's nothing else needed.
Sure thing.
A road test, when needed, helps to check the running condition of all parts of your car and is usually the climax of a thorough service inspection. In your Chevrolet dealer's service department, you'll find the kind of accuracy that makes for quality work. There's a special machine or tool for every job. Whether it's valve refacing or honing a cylinder wall, you can depend on the job being done to factory standards of quality and accuracy. Naturally, parts do wear out under normal usage, even with the best of care. But your Chevrolet dealer knows that wear can be held to a minimum by proper lubrication. Not only does it take specialized equipment, it takes precision parts if you're to be guaranteed prompt, efficient service. A well-stocked parts department places genuine Chevrolet replacement parts at your serviceman's fingertips. There he can find the right part for your year and model Chevrolet, a part identical to that which was used when your Chevrolet was built. And whatever the part, whether it's a door handle, fuel pump, or piston, your Chevrolet serviceman has the skilled know-how to install it and adjust it for best performance. Yes, the job of keeping your car operating at top performance, at utmost economy, the job of maintaining all you want in terms of comfort, safety, dependability, and of keeping your car looking the way you want it to look, is a job your Chevrolet dealer knows how to do.
Your bill is all ready, Mr. Gleason. Shall I put it on your account?
No, it isn't much. I think I'll pay cash this time.
Your Chevrolet dealer knows that giving you pleasant miles of trouble-free transportation goes hand in hand with promptness and courtesy. He knows it all depends on the two big steps in service, of finding what needs to be fixed and fixing it right the first time. The most popular car on the road today, America's best service, Chevrolet service. Remember, wherever you are or wherever you go, you'll find dependable Chevrolet super service close at hand. Your Chevrolet dealer is waiting to serve you and your family now and in the years to come. Let him keep your Chevrolet the way you want it, ready to help you in business, in pleasure, or to see the USA.
So make a date today to see the USA and see it in your Chevrolet. Ah.
What do you think about this one, Bob?
Uh-huh. Looks great. But you know, it's a pretty important investment. And there's a lot of things I want to know before we put out our money.
Well, what we ought to do is go around and look at them.
Yes, but there have been so many new ideas and engineering changes lately that, well, it's hard to choose just what we want. Besides, I'm no engineer. How can we make sure we're getting just what we want?
I know what I want. A lot of enjoyment and safety for us and the children. And it has to be comfortable and nice looking and, well, what do you want?
Well, it's got to have a lot of power and performance. It must be rugged and durable.
And economical. Don't forget that.
How can we tell just by looking at it whether it's got all those things?
Just imagine what it would be like if there were a very special kind of showroom where we could help ourselves to just the things we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I could walk up to the salesman and say,
What do you have in good getaway and easy handling in traffic? Good getaway, easy handling? We have both of them right here. Just step this way, please. Smooth, fast getaway and power for passing and for hills start with the engine. Here's top engine performance. The famous Chevrolet valve and head engine, exclusive in its field. Its valve and head design gives maximum power with economy. We can see why the valve and head design is more efficient on this cutaway model. The engine can take in more air through this direct intake passage, so you get equal efficiency with a slightly lower compression ratio. And to make this engine even more responsive, the new power jet carburetor with an ever-ready fuel supply in the jets gives instant power when you step on it. Twin floats in the carburetor bowl give an even flow of fuel on grades and sharp curves. Now for the easy handling you mentioned. Chevrolet's center point steering with balanced tie rods eliminates unbalanced steering forces. Gives you more driver comfort, less work at the wheel, not only in heavy traffic, but when you're on the open road as well. Isn't this what you wanted?
Yeah, looks good. Well, what do you think, dear?
Well, yes, but I'm worried about the children.
You were thinking about the children riding in the back seat and accidentally opening a door?
Well, yes, that's it.
Let's go over this way. And I'll show you a safety feature that takes care of that. First, let's look at this rear door. Now, try to open the door with a handle.
It turns, but nothing happens.
That's right. Now try it. The rear doors of all Chevrolet sedans can be adjusted this way in a matter of moments. Here's another safety feature. Notice this windshield glass. It's curved for panoramic visibility. You can see better. And of course, it's safety plate like all Chevrolet windows. And that's a Chevrolet exclusive in the low-price field. Even the pillars are narrower so as not to obstruct your view of the road. You can really see where you're going. And the instrument panel. Its recessed design eliminates any glare on the windshield from night illumination.
Well, that makes for safe driving. But how about smooth, sure stops?
The safest ever. This new brake is designed so that the car's momentum, either forward or backward, helps to apply the brakes. This means up to 25% less pressure is needed on the brake pedal. And lining contact is constant and even for safe, straight-line stops.
Well, that's good. There's one other thing. It's got to be easy on a pocketbook for all kinds of driving.
Then suppose we step over here. Here are some of the things that give you economy. Operating, upkeep, and repairs. We were talking about the brakes. Just look at this Chevrolet brake line. See any rivets in it?
No. What holds the lining on the shoe?
It's bonded by a new process. No rivets to score the drum as the lining wears. More usable lining thickness. That's a big saving for you. Here are some other important savings. This Chevrolet engine block and the pistons are both made out of cast alloy iron, so they expand evenly. That gives them a precision fit at all times, whether the engine is warm or cool. You get low oil consumption. Here's fuel economy. Chevrolet's exclusive valve and head design. It gets more out of the gas you buy. In this engine, you get economy in every phase of operation. You've noticed that it's no trick to get at the valves for adjusting. That makes servicing easier. Another saving. Repair bills are few and far between when you own a Chevrolet. And when you do have to get service on your car, the costs are low. Economy? Here it is again. First, in the price of Chevrolet compared with others. Second, a year or two from now, you'll find that Chevrolet has a higher resale value in relation to its original cost than any other car in its field.
Well, I know how you feel about economy, dear, but I do want it to be good looking.
Let me show you what we have in appearance. Let's start with the Chevrolet bumper and grille. Notice the parking lights. and the big bumper guards. They not only look massive, but give you added protection. That's functional beauty. The body by Fisher leads the field in styling. And once again, it's beauty to a purpose. These long, sweeping lines not only look good, but they're designed to give you a better view of the road from any angle, as well as better balance and a firm footing on the road. The Chevrolet body is the only body by Fisher in its price field. It's a beauty, outside or inside.
It's good looking, all right. But I like to make sure that things stand up.
We have just what you want. The Fisher body we were admiring is all steel. Look at it closely. Steel is welded to steel to make a single solid unit. That kind of rugged strength means thousands of miles of trouble-free service. Here are samples of finish, the result of research and testing in all kinds of climates. This finish will stand up for years with only reasonable care. One of the reasons the Chevrolet engine is so durable is that the valves and the pistons are completely surrounded by water jackets for controlled cooling. You find this only in Chevrolet in the low-price field. Of course, the short strokes of the pistons also contribute to durability. And so does Chevrolet's exclusive four-way lubrication system. The four ways are metered pressure for valves and rocker arms, a vapor spray for pistons and cylinder walls, direct pressure for the camshaft and crankshaft bearings, and a pressure stream for the connecting rod bearings. Exactly the right kind of oiling for every moving part.
There's something else. I do like comfort and easy riding.
Comfort? Yes. This is a Chevrolet exclusive, unitized knee action. The entire front end assembly is built as a unit, aligned and adjusted in perfect balance before it goes into your car. Within these towers are aeroplane-type shock absorbers. They're Chevrolet's double-acting type to make your Chevrolet ride even better. The rear shock absorbers are also of the airplane type. Mounted diagonally, they give better stability and steadiness on the road. Here are some other features for your comfort. The seats have been moved forward so that you're cradled between the axles, whether you sit in front or in back. Notice the increased width of the seats. Why, even 3 adults aren't crowded.
Did I give you what you asked for?
Oh, yes.
Now let's see what you folks have ordered. You've asked for performance, you want safety, economy and durability, and you prefer good appearance as well as comfort.
My goodness. Did we order all that?
Yes, you want all those things, and you want them to be right. You want them designed to give you exactly what you want, engineered for your satisfaction, tested in laboratories and on proving grounds, and proved by the experience of more thousands of motorists than drive any other car. And if you want to help yourself to all you want, you'll find it in Chevrolet, and only in Chevrolet. Help yourself to all you want of everything you want when you drive Chevrolet.
This picture, as you can see, was taken in a busy American city. This picture was taken at exactly the same time and at the same spot. Question: how was it done? A modern motion picture camera photographed the traffic in action, while the Daguerre camera, the great-great-granddaddy of all cameras, was used to photograph the buildings alone. The action of this camera is so slow that there isn't time for moving objects to register on the film. On the other hand, the buildings, being stationary, gradually formed a sharp, clear image. And why use the Daguerre camera? To show that any picture of America without automobiles is hopelessly out of date. Today, the automobile is part of any American scene. Every man, woman, and child in America could go riding at the same time. And if we wanted to, we could all ride in the front seat, because there is a car or a truck for every 3 persons, almost 50 million motor vehicles. How many are 50 million cars? Bumper to bumper, they would stretch around the earth at the equator 7 times. The distance we drive our cars and trucks every day would take us on 5 daily round trips to the sun. But the real importance of the motor car is in the way it has opened up new horizons in our way of living. And that brings up a very interesting fact about 1 out of every 7 American workers. Let's see what it is about that 1 worker out of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sir, what do you do for a living?
You've heard of tea testers, haven't you? Well, I'm a toot tester.
Yes, this man is a toot tester. He listens to automobile horns in a factory to be sure they are tuned to the proper musical tone. If anybody should ever ask you what the proper musical tone is, it's E flat combined with G. Let's try again. Pardon us, sir, but would you tell us what business you're in?
Why, certainly, I'm a farmer.
And what do you grow on your farm?
Well, you might say I grow automobiles because I own part of the 4 million acres of farmland used to grow raw materials for paints and lacquers and insulation used in motor cars.
And you, sir, it seems that you're a miner. What do you mine?
I mine automobiles. You see, it takes the miner to dig the iron and the coal and limestone for automotive steel. And then, of course, some of us dig the copper and lead and molybdenum and sulfur that go into automobiles.
You might get answers like that in any crowd, anywhere, from any one of over 9 million men and women who make their living directly because of automobile transportation. That's what we mean by 1 out of 7. Let's see how many it takes to make over 9 million people. We'll begin with the city of Los Angeles, which has become our 4th largest city. Suppose every family in Los Angeles should decide for some reason to move elsewhere. Then suppose into each house left vacant, there should move a family of a worker in the automobile industry, the 1 man out of 7. Actually, Los Angeles isn't nearly big enough to hold them all, nor, for that matter, is the whole state of California. You see, there'd be the steel workers, the men who make steel for the automobile, and their families. There'd be the families of glass workers who make automobile glass. We'd have to find homes for the families of all the workers who build tires, and batteries, and parts. And we'd have to make room for the 800,000 families of the men in the big motor car and truck assembly plants. Yes, it would be moving day for 1 out of every 7 families in the United States. And we'd have to include the moving van driver and his family, too. Because, you see, he is one of more than 5 million drivers who drive for a living. Trucks, buses, and taxis. And while you're about it, did you ever stop to think of how many people it takes to maintain our roads and highways? Well, quite a few. Because on the highway miles of America, we could drive to the moon and back more than 14 times. Well, does that account for 1 out of every 7 workers in America? Not quite. But it does when you add the men who sell motor cars and the men who service them. Moving the families of the 1 worker out of 7, gradually replacing family for family. We'd need all the houses in California, Oregon and Washington, Idaho, Utah and Arizona, Montana, Wyoming and Colorado, and part of Texas to find homes for the people who make their living directly because of the motor car. And this brings up an interesting question. What would these people be doing if the motor car had remained a luxury for a few rather than a necessity for so many? And what about all the people who depend indirectly on the motor car for the way they live? Looking at it this way, we can fill up all the homes from North Dakota to Texas and from Minnesota to Arkansas, all the way to the banks of the Mississippi with the families of the men who use motor cars or trucks in their business. The plumber, the painter, the florist, the meter man, the rural mail carrier, and of course, the more than 2 million salesmen on the road. Now, it seems that we've found out something else about the motor car and its effect on our living. 1 worker out of 7 either makes cars or parts, or sells or services them. And another 1 worker out of 7 uses the motor car to make his living. Pardon us, sir, but what do you do?
Why, I'm a traveling trimmer.
Yes, this man is a traveling trimmer who makes his living with his pruning saw and his truck. Yes, for that second man out of 7, there are all kinds of jobs that you might not even think of as being connected with the motor car. The traffic policeman, and the people who make and sell traffic lights and parking meters. But would you think of railroad engineers? You would if you knew that transporting raw materials and finished products to keep our American system of individual transportation by motor car rolling takes 4 million freight carloads per year. 1/6 of all retail business firms are connected with the automobile. Yes, even including little Jimmy's first business venture, the motor car makes business for America. And 1 out of every 5 retail sales dollars in America changes hands because the motor car made it possible. Yes, the motor car has been a key factor in all the ways we do business in America. But it has had even greater effect on the way we live and the pleasure we get out of living. Being able to drive out into the country has made many of us want to live in the country. And the motor car has made it possible for millions. Today, suburban construction is more than 3 times the construction in the city. And just as the motor car is a tool for working, with more than half of us using it to go to and from our daily work, so it is a tool for enjoyment. It puts America at our doorstep for business or pleasure. Whether you're traveling on business or pleasure, the chances are even that you'll travel by motor car. More than half of us take yearly vacations, and most of us take them on the highway. As a result, the tourist and resort industry ranks among the 3 most important industries in 16 states. We have seen how the Daguerre camera, a camera from the past, can take a picture of the past to show how our horizons have been expanded by the motor car. And the greatness of America has been that we are never content to stop at the horizon we can see. We know that there is another and another horizon beyond. The motor car industry, as it has recognized its responsibilities in our progress through yesterday to get where we are today, is already at work on the design of tomorrow, exploring, developing, testing to improve the cars we drive, to make them safer, more comfortable, more enjoyable. If we are to realize in full the motor car's vast potential for good, we must use it and care for it wisely. The motor car has been the key to open new horizons, not for the few, but for all. And all of us share in the responsibility of safeguarding the benefits it has brought. If we plan for the future, if we look ahead to clear all obstacles and roadblocks, if we recognize the importance of this great individual freedom of movement, the motor car will be the key to our ever-widening horizons of tomorrow. Power. Performance. Safety. Ease of handling. Economy. The search for these qualities in ever greater abundance has long been the dedicated task of American engineering genius. And in no other field has the search been keener than in the development of motor cars for the people of America. Over the years, people have come to look to one name, Chevrolet, as the leader in developing the finest at lowest cost with all the qualities most wanted in motor cars. True to this tradition, now for 1953, the magic touch of Chevrolet engineering genius brings to America unbelievable advances in motoring pleasure. It has succeeded in transferring to you a true magic touch. The magic touch of toe to accelerator that brings amazing new experience in performance. The magic touch of foot to brake that brings swift, sure stops with unbelievable ease. Yes, with the all-new 1953 Chevrolet, your magic touch puts you in command of standards of quality that exceed all previous records for performance, safety, ease of handling, and all this with unheard of new standards of economy. What's behind this? Simply the story of Chevrolet's years of pioneering, developing, perfecting, culminating in two magnificent new power teams for 1953. One for those who want the modern magic of automatic driving. The other for those who want the finest in conventional gear shift driving. For conventional driving, a new power team offering the amazingly powerful Thrift King valve and head engine, the famous synchromesh transmission, a new highly efficient rear axle ratio. Here is power for every driving need, an engine designed to give you performance miracles with a displacement of 235 cubic inches, compression ratio increased to 7.1 to 1, horsepower raised to 108, over 15% more. Designed to work with the Thrift King engine is Chevrolet's outstanding synchromesh transmission, easy to shift, durable, and this year more dependable than ever under all circumstances. Finally, completing Chevrolet's new conventional power team and bringing it the last needed touch of balance is a new rear axle ratio designed to transmit to the rear wheels the right amount of power for best performance with maximum economy. This is a power team to make conventional driving history in performance and in economy of operation. Preliminary tests here at the General Motors Proving Ground already have shown that this new conventional power team can deliver up to 40% greater performance, up to 25% greater economy, depending upon driving conditions. Sensational! Just wait till you drive it. But wait till you drive Chevrolet's all-new automatic power team, available as an option on all Bel Air and 210 models for a truly amazing driving experience. Your magic touch brings you undreamed of performance and economy with velvet smoothness and effortless control. The power team that offers the breathtaking new Blue Flame high compression valve and head engine, the great new Power Glide automatic transmission, and the economizer rear axle. Here is an engine that sets new standards in performance in the low-priced field. 7.5 to 1 high compression ratio, 115 horsepower, and Chevrolet engineering, thanks to over 40 years of building more valve and head engines than all other manufacturers combined, offers you all this tremendous new power without the need for using premium gasoline. And the rest of Chevrolet's new automatic power team has been precisely designed to carry this new power to the rear wheels with great new efficiency and full economy.
The great Power Glide automatic transmission, owner tested over 1 billion miles, is now more than ever the ultimate in automatic driving, in both performance and outstanding economy. Starting with the selector in drive range, this great transmission now automatically engages the low gear for a quick surge of power on the getaway. Upshifts to cruising range occur between 10 and 40 miles per hour, depending on accelerator pressure. For greater than ever traffic acceleration, quickly press down on the accelerator and you downshift automatically at any speed up to about 40 miles per hour. As you slow to a stop, the transmission automatically downshifts to low at about 9 miles per hour to be ready for the next flashing start. And all this has been accomplished without adding a single gear. What's more, a new control mechanism makes the upshifts and downshifts smoother than smooth. Coupled with the new, more powerful 115 horsepower engine, a new, larger torque converter of simplified design more efficiently transfers the engine power to the rear wheels. The increased fluid coupling at all speeds provides outstanding new economy by reducing the engine revolutions per mile of travel. Indeed, those who have thrilled in the past at the experience of driving with Chevrolet's velvet smooth automatic power team will marvel at the performance and economy miracles of this new Power Glide with the great all-new blue flame engine, ready at the magic touch of your foot. Finally, rounding out this unparalleled automatic driving team is Chevrolet's famous economizer rear axle, with its gear ratio exactly calculated to transmit maximum power with maximum economy. And now, just how well does Chevrolet's new automatic power team live up to the expectations of its designers? Let's look at the proof. Here at the General Motors Proving Ground, we can see automotive history in the making. There's no guesswork here. Nothing is taken for granted. This great new Chevrolet power team has to prove itself under every and all conditions. The most accurate time and distance measuring techniques are brought into play to check and record every phase of a car's operation in performance and economy tests. Figures disclosed by these control tests brought out the astonishing fact that the great new automatic power team delivers up to 30% greater performance in lightning-like getaway. Tests for acceleration at all speeds, in city driving or on the highway, the kind of driving that takes you to work, does your chores, or gives you pleasure. Tests for performance and economy that will make new Chevrolet history. And for economy in city driving conditions, these tests revealed that the new automatic power team delivers up to 25% greater fuel economy. No matter where you drive, in city, country, town, or village, in either Chevrolet's sensational new conventional drive power team or in Chevrolet's magnificent new automatic power team, a magic touch will bring you new joys and pleasures in driving in 1953. Matching the amazing new power, the magic touch of your foot on the brake brings a new sensation in braking ease with even greater control because of Chevrolet's wonderfully improved jumbo drum brakes. With a newly designed hydraulic system, which provides up to 23% greater ease of application in making smoother and surer stops. And on the road, on city streets or open highway, the magic touch of your hands on the steering wheel gives you an amazing new experience in ease of control. This year, Chevrolet's long-famous center point steering offers new standards in effortless handling through the addition of 2 needle bearings, which brings you easier than ever, safer turning and control under all conditions. And finally, for those who want the ultimate in ease and safety of handling, Chevrolet introduces to the low-priced field as an option its new extra easy power steering. The same kind of power steering available with the most expensive General Motors cars. Here, with positive safe control at all times, you can negotiate the sharpest turns, the dizziest curves, the tightest parking maneuvers, almost without effort, with hydraulic power doing up to 80% of the work of steering. Yes, all these things are yours to command. The magic touch of Chevrolet engineering genius offers you a new unheard-of balance of engineering in low-priced cars. Magnificent standards of quality for power, performance, safety, ease of handling, and economy. It will give you the magic touch for greater than ever motoring pleasure in the 1953 Chevrolet of your choice.
Successful selling today is largely a matter of point of view. Salesmen can learn points of selling techniques and memorize ways to overcome objections, but without the understanding that a selling situation is primarily a human situation, sales techniques lose much of their effectiveness. Too often a sale is lost today because this matter of human relationship is forgotten or overlooked. It is to remind all of us that successful selling is always done on the human level of mutual interest and understanding that this picture has been developed.
Thank you very much. I beg your pardon. I represent a national opinion poll. We're making a survey.
Well, how do you do? I've been waiting for years for one of you folks to get around to me. Now, frankly, I think the...
Sorry, but this survey is on customer buying. We want to find out why the average American customer has changed so much in recent years.
Well, I didn't know we had.
Oh, yes, when it comes to major items anyway. Everybody knows that.
I didn't.
But you certainly don't buy the same way today as you did, well, as you did 8 years ago, do you?
Well, no. You're right about that.
Now, if you'll just tell me why you changed, I'd be very glad to.
But, well, I'll try.
Thank you.
Well, now, first, let me tell you what happened to me when I went out to buy 8 years ago. For example, I'll tell you about the time I wanted to buy a water softener. And the chap who tried to sell me the water softener must have had a hard head.
You know something, mister? You're luckier than a hoot owl.
I am?
Yes. The last one we got left.
Oh, well, would it be too much trouble to see it?
No, not at all. Here. Here's what the odometer looks like.
Oh. Well, how much water does it take to flush the tank on this size unit?
No, not much, I'd say. Probably tells you all about it somewhere here in the folder.
Uh-huh. Well, will I be able to bypass my outside water tap?
Oh, sure. Well, that is, I guess you would. Tell you what you do. You ask the man that installs it. By golly, he should know.
You should? Yes, sir. That fella fooled me all right. For a while, I thought he knew more about his product than I did. And I didn't know one end of a water softener from another.
Yes, well, now more to the point.
Oh, yes. Then there was the time I tried to buy a lawnmower.
There you are. Hope you realize what a lucky break you're getting.
Yeah. I looked all over town, but I didn't see anything like this. Are you sure it's a good mower?
Mister, all you gotta do is look at those steel blades, sharp as razors.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of a guarantee do I get with it?
Guarantee?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do, pal? Hurt my feelings?
Well, you can give me service on it, can't you?
Well, I suppose. At least for as long as I'm around here.
"8 years ago, it's amazing how many dealers and salesmen didn't stay around. Then there's a time I wanted to buy a refrigerator.
Look, Mac, what's it worth to you?
You mean, am I looking for a discount?
Discount? Look, there are mighty few of these babies around town. Mighty few, Mac. Do you get it? You can't touch one for less than $100 over list.
$100? Over the list?
That's the picture, Mac. Take it or leave it.
Back then, you had to be willing to bid high, or you did without.
Well, of course, it's different today.
Oh? Well, let me tell you about a salesman I was talking to a couple of weeks ago.
And that's the whole story of our latest model. 22 brand new features. 20 of them exclusive, too.
Oh, hey, here's a mighty funny television program. Do you ever watch it?
No.
Well, why not?
Well, you see, I don't have a television set at home.
Oh. You were telling me about some special features in this set.
Oh, yes. As I was saying, this is our latest model. 22 special features, 20 of them exclusive.
Well, I don't see what good the special features will do me.
That's nothing hard to understand. Like I say, this new beamer ray screens out all static, except in certain areas, of course.
Well, you see, in my living room...
Oh, yes. You get installation and maintenance by a national organization of factory-trained experts. I wanted to get that in.
Yeah.
Now, sir, you were saying...
I say we have a problem at home. The sound sort of bounces.
Well, you want bounce.
Yeah?
That's the latest thing in hi-fi.
Hi-fi?
Yes.
Chinese set, I bet. No. Today I still run into, begging your pardon, lousy salesmen.
Well, what was wrong with him? He seemed to know what he was talking about.
But he never did explain just what good those features are to me. Then there's another kind. The dealer with the questionable reputation. Take the sweater I was trying to buy as a birthday present for my wife.
I'm sorry, but in this survey, we're only interested in major items.
Well, my dear young lady, to me, a woman's sweater is a major item. But all right, take the problem of price. Now, just last week, I was looking for some power tools. I walked into a drugstore.
Yes, sir. These quarter-inch drills are the most popular power tool in America today. And I can give you a good price on one, too.
Yeah, I know, but I need something I can use as a saw, I think.
Saw, bore, burnish, plane, sharpen, shear, grip, cut, buff, polish, sharpen, stir. Anything, sir. And you can't get a lower figure than ours anywhere.
Well, you see, I plan on putting a slatted roof on a kind of a patio.
Tell you what, make it a deal right now, and we'll throw in a couple of carpenter's aprons with your name on as a bonus. Well, what do you say?
Yeah, well, first, I better go and measure and see if the slots fit the slats. Like, you see what I mean? He was trying to sell his product to me on the basis of price alone.
Well, don't tell me that isn't important.
Well, of course it is, but I couldn't see exactly how his product could help me with the roof over my patio.
Well, then you didn't buy one.
No, ma'am. I'm still shopping around.
Then you have changed. 8 years ago, you wouldn't have shopped around.
Because I couldn't. But today, times have changed. Conditions have changed. Today, I don't have to put up with the salesman who doesn't know his product. Or the salesman who thinks more of price than he does of my interests. Or the salesman who doesn't seem likely to be in business come the time I need his help or service. Don't you see? It used to be take it or leave it. I certainly don't have to take it anymore. Everybody's got good products today, and a lot of them. Yes, today I can shop around. Not that I particularly want to.
Well, then why do you do it?
Because I look upon buying as a very personal matter, and I like to deal with a salesman who'll see it that way, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Now, I had one come over to see me the other day. He seemed to be the type of fellow in whom you could have some confidence. He was clean-shaven.
Yes, Mr. Huber. This is an exceptionally clean, reconditioned car and very low mileage. I drove it over so you could see for yourself how well it meets your particular needs.
My needs, you say?
Yes, sir. For example, you have 3 children?
That's right.
Then you need a car that will offer a lot of extra room and plenty of trunk space, too. Comes in handy when you're traveling with a family.
Yeah, of course.
You do a lot of city driving, too, don't you?
That's right.
Well, this car is especially easy on the gas and stop-and-go kind of driving.
You know, that's interesting.
I imagine Mrs. Huber uses the car for weekend shopping?
Yes, she does. When it's running.
Well, I'd like her to drive this car. See how easy it is to handle. How unusually easy it is to get in and out of parking spots. Especially those tight ones over at the shopping center.
You know, that's a good idea.
Incidentally, you mentioned you were in the mood, perhaps in the market in a year or so, to buy a new car.
Huh?
You want to be sure the car you buy has a good trade-in value at the time.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you see the kind of salesman I want? I want the kind who starts shopping for me before I start shopping for him. I want the friendly kind, the fellow who'll put himself in my place, who carefully considers the things I need, what my interests are. I want the kind of fellow who knows his product and knows why it's good for me. I want to buy from a man I can believe and trust, a man who has an interest in me before and after I sign an order. Now, I don't shop around so much today because I'm looking for the right product or the right price. I'm looking for the right salesman. And I've always looked for him. Now, I know times have changed and conditions have changed and maybe even some of my buying habits have changed. But in this respect, I've never changed.
Henry! Henry Huber!
Cousin Harriet!
Well, for goodness sake, Henry Huber. Here, let me take a good look at you. Yes, indeedy. I haven't seen you for years, but I declare you haven't changed a bit.
Don't know what to make of it. That's why I decided to call you, Doctor. The way Henry's been acting lately, it's just...
Hello, Doctor. Feeling well? Hello, Emily. Not feeling well? You say he's had this trouble before?
Yes. The last time was several years ago. You know, when everything was so hard to get, Henry had a terrible time.
Then he was all right for a while, wasn't he?
Oh, yes, he's been getting along beautifully with people. But then, just the other night, the whole thing started over again when we were having dinner at a little restaurant that used to be one of Henry's favorite places. Henry's such a meek man that people often ignore him, just as that waitress did.
You folks decided what you want yet?
Yes, thank you. It was,
It was roast duck.
That's what I said, yes. Roast duck, yes. Roast duck.
Roast duck?
Some applesauce, maybe, and...
I just served the last order to that party over there.
They came in after we did.
Well, I can't help that. We got some fish left. Ducks, fish, what's the difference? They both swim.
When our food finally came, it was stone cold. And then Henry discovered she hadn't brought him any lemon. after he'd asked her twice.
All I want, Emily, is just one little slice of lemon. If that waitress would just realize how little it takes to make me happy, if the owner of this place only knew how easy it is to make people feel welcome in his place of business...
There's your lemon, mister.
Oh, thank you.
Henry, for a man who shot all the lions and tigers you have, you certainly don't get much respect in a restaurant. You know what you remind me of sometimes? A stuffed mouse. Doctor, the strangest look came over his face. And then he pulled a little black book out of his pocket and started to mark in it.
No, Emily. I can't see any cause for alarm in that. Lots of men keep track of the places where they've been badly treated, so they'll remember not to go there anymore.
Oh, no, that isn't it, Doctor. Let me tell you about the next time. He was buying a suit, and as you know, Henry is very conservative about his clothes.
I tell you, I want Oxford gray. Oxford gray.
Mac, this is what everyone's wearing nowadays. Oxford gray? Why, I tell you, people would laugh at you. There, look at that fit across the shoulder. Perfect. And look at that fit in front. Perfect. Doesn't even need any alterations. Except maybe the sleeves. Now let's look at the pants.
Is there another pair of trousers? I always want 2 pair.
2 pair of pants for that price? Say, when did you buy your last suit anyway?
Well, I think it was about last June. No, I do not like the suit. I
was supposed to meet him at the store, and by the time I got there, he was simply furious. He got that expression on his face again. Then he started putting things down in the notebook, drawing a picture.
Well, really, Emily, I can't see why you're so upset. It's probably just a natural release for his pent-up feelings. After all, the salesman insulted his taste and good judgment. Make matters worse, he browbeat him in an argument.
There, you see, I know he's up to something. I've been sure of it ever since yesterday when we went marketing.
Next. Have you any nice lean pork chops?
I got these.
They're not very lean, are they?
Well, that's what I got.
One of these chickens for broiling.
Well, hello, Mrs. Bates. What can I do for you?
You could give me some nice lean pork chops.
Well, I've been saving up here just in case you came in.
By the time I got through with my shopping at the bakery, he was in an argument about price.
Oh, the sign said 60 cents a pound, and this is a 5-pound chicken. Now you tell me it's $4?
Yeah, but 60 a pound is for those scrawny old hens. You picked out a good chicken. Naturally, you don't expect to get it at the same price, do you?
So when I found the book this morning on the hall table, I just thought you ought to have a look at it, Doctor. After all, you've been Henry's doctor and friend for a long time.
Even so, I didn't know Henry was such an artist. Our butcher, playing favorites, price juggling, a boor. My dollar is worth just as much as anybody's dollar. If he had been honest about prices, he would have made a sale instead of losing one. But what on earth does he mean by over the gun rack? Waitress at the B restaurant. Ignored us. Careless service. Impertinent. I'm easy to please. All I ask is a little attention and a bit of friendliness. Over the bookcase. Over the bookcase? Salesman at Brown's men's store. A show-off. Too smart. Henry thinks this man will be better off if he paid more attention to what the customer wants. Over the mantel. Seems the Henry's had plenty of trouble. Hometown Motor Company, serviceman. Said they would have car ready by noon. When I got there, they hadn't even started to work on it. I had to wait 2 hours. I know exactly what he means. And it isn't just the service department either. I remember when I bought my last new car. I got just about the same kind of treatment Henry got in the restaurant. I wasn't buying pork chops. I was buying an automobile, a major investment. Yet I practically had to take the car away from him.
Henry, are you all right?
You have an accident? All right, yes, dear. Accident? Thanks, old man. Just had one.
Henry, what are you doing?
I'm going to take that bear's head down from over the bookcase.
Oh, dear. Over the bookcase.
Over the mantel. Over the gun rack. A public service, my dear.
I think I'm going to faint.
Oh, wait, Emily. Before you do, let me get you another chair. Thanks, Doctor. I need this one to get these heads down before the store's closed tonight. By the way, Doctor, I'd like to know what you think of my project.
What is your project?
Well, sir, bad-mannered people sometimes remind me of animals. Now, I've met a few bad-mannered people in business lately. And this afternoon, they're going to remember only too well that they've met me. Now, it's not just the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker either. I think that everybody in all businesses in these times ought to pay attention to the way they treat people. Now, this afternoon, I'm going to give these animal heads to some people I know. They'll be a good reminder of the right way to keep friends, to keep business, no matter how hard times may be or what may come. This first one is to a waitress I know. Only a bear can afford to hibernate when customers are waiting. It's easy to be nice to people, and it only takes a little bit of attention to make them feel welcome. Now, this would help remind that restaurant owner, too, that his customers judge him by the people who work for him. Now, this is going to a salesman I know. Don't be a smart shark. Know your product, but let the customer tell you what he wants. And of course, that'd be good advice for any salesman. Now, this applies to lots of people in business, but it's going to our butcher. Boors and bores have this in common: they have few friends. It takes lots of friendly customers to stay in business. You make friends by treating people right. I've got some ideas about people who act like animals myself. Emily, get out of that chair. I'm going to work. That is, if you don't mind my joining in, Henry. Not at all, Doctor, not at all. Henry, I don't think we've got enough heads to go around. Every business and professional man in town ought to have one to keep him reminded of the fact that there's no such thing as doing business without the customer. That no matter what kind of product or service he sells, his success depends on getting along with people. In fact, I know I need a reminder myself once in a while not to be a bear or a boar or a shark. Henry, I want to go along with you.
is the Outfit, a rolling caravan that tours the highways and byways of America, bringing a thrill-packed show to hundreds of thousands of spectators all over the country throughout the year. Day after day, night after night, the equipment is unloaded for the grueling series of breathtaking routines that a talented troupe of daring drivers perform with the same fleet of regular production model cars. Yes, this is the Outfit, and this is the slogan they swear and live by. I drove all three. Comparison proves it's Chevrolet for me. And here's a man who should know.
I'm Joey Chitwood. I'm the boss of this outfit, so be my guest. Join the crowd that's come to take in the exciting thrill-a-minute show that my boys and I put on. Popcorn, peanuts, and red hots for the customer, and a real hot car for the drivers. Chevrolet is the only one we use, not a souped-up reinforced model, but the same Chevrolet you'll find on any showroom floor. The hundreds of thousands of people who catch our show in a season see with their own eyes that the cars they can buy are the same ones we drive. And I'm giving it to you straight. My boys and I give hundreds of performances, day and night, with this same fleet of Chevrolets. And when you see the pounding we give them in these highlights from various shows, you get an idea of why the car we use has to be able to take it. And now, here's our announcer getting the show underway.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in behalf of Joey Chitwood and his world champion Auto Thrill Show. And now moving along with the individual introduction of each of the Daredevil stars driving brand new 1956 Chevrolet cars.
That's how we take our bows. Just the drivers, mind you, not the Chevrolet. We can spin on a dime and give you a nickel change. Believe me, it takes more than hard braking and an expert at the wheel to do that. It takes a combination of balanced weight distribution, plus the way Chevrolet's front-end suspension is built into the chassis. There's the combination that makes for sure-footed, anti-dive braking control. Safer, easier all-around handling with a car that'll stop heads up. Yes, safer by a long shot, even in a full reverse spin, which we wouldn't wish on anybody driving on highways. But if it happens in an extreme emergency, Chevrolet's combination of outrigger rear springs and body balance are protection against a rollover. I don't expect you'll ever run into any road hazards like these, but here's another example of Chevrolet's ability to meet and beat an emergency. It's like balancing an egg on a toothpick. It takes more than driver juggling to do it. Balanced frame construction is what lets us ride this two-wheel tightrope. Oops. Think we'll make it? Well, take a look at the rugged steel backbone in that chassis. A rigid box girder frame with no excess weight, and with the road holding low center of gravity, makes it a cinch for us to come off these runs right side up. Just in case you're wondering what would happen if my boy didn't make it, I rigged this little stunt. Up and over. And these especially braced old jalopies we use in our shows really take a pounding. But it wouldn't prove a thing unless we put one of our regular cars in our fleet through this exact same routine. And this will really give you an idea of how rugged Chevrolet is, because we run them brand new in this rollover demonstration, and this 1956 Chevrolet has no special reinforcement whatsoever. Here we go. Hold it. This is too good to miss. So let's start at the beginning again and run it real slow so you can see for yourself the full wallop this car takes on the rollover. As tough as any proving ground test a car can be put through. Durability? Brother, that solid, sturdy, double-wall steel construction really gives durability to Chevrolet. Because here we are, heads up and running. A car that can do that means the world to you in your everyday driving. And talking about everyday driving, I'm sure you won't get tied up in many situations like this. But to be freewheeling in tight spots where every inch counts is something we just don't take for granted. We've got to be sure of split-second response with every turn of the steering wheel. And no matter how or where you drive, when threading through traffic, cornering, taking the wide turns or the sharp turns on the highways, steering control is the key to easy, fatigue-free handling. You'll want that split-second response, and you'll get it from the same place we get it, from Chevrolet's Ball Race steering gear. It cuts friction and drag down to practically nothing. Besides, these outrigger rear springs mounted outside the frame members reduce sway and body roll on the sharpest of turns, producing sure fire control every foot of the way. Routines like this could be a tough, nerve-wracking grind, but behind the wheel of a Chevrolet, they're just the smooth, easy-handling pleasure that's tops in our book, and can be the same for any driver who chooses Chevrolet. Now, no matter how good roads are these days, your car still takes plenty of bumps and jolts. But they're nothing compared to this ramp jump I'm going to show you for demonstration purposes. No sway, no swerve. Perfect balance and a perfect landing. It's a jarring test of the springs, chassis, and frame, and the pounding we give these same cars day after day proves beyond all doubt that they're built to take it under the roughest driving conditions. Of course, no one drives on such roads all the time, but the times that you do, it's good to know that the Chevrolet you drive can take this kind of punishment. I'm sure you won't be doing this kind of high flying, and no man would, even in this business, if he wasn't absolutely sold on the car he used. It takes power, the solid, dependable V8 power you've got at the tip of your toe when you press down on a Chevrolet accelerator. In case you missed some of that, we'll try it again. This is something we can do only on film, but it'll show you how steady Chevrolet is, even flying high like this. And in this demonstration, you'll see 1956 Chevrolet durability put to the acid test. A car has to have everything to do this and survive, especially durability. And considering that this same car was used for the rollover stunt, it's really rugged. Here's another chance to see what I mean. With Chevrolet, I know I can drive away under my own power every time. And I've got to know if I'm going to put on another show tomorrow. You can take my word, we live to drive, and drive to live. And Chevrolet is the car we trust our lives to. Day in, day out, night after night, we show off our driving skills with this package of driving thrills. But more than that, we prove every day that the extra margin of safety every family wants in a family car is built into a Chevrolet.
Yes, this is the outfit, and here is the slogan they swear and live by. I drove all three. Comparison proves it's Chevrolet for me. It's a cinch this fellow knows, and you'll know too, once you get behind the wheel of a Chevrolet.
Beach, 1955. Chevrolet sets new all-time records for its class in stock car acceleration and flying mile competition. Darlington, South Carolina, Labor Day, 1955. The World Series of stock car racing. A grueling 500-mile classic over this vast Grand National track. A thrilling race, a thrilling winner, Chevrolet. Daytona Beach, February 1956. The same hard-packed Florida sand strip fronting the ocean. And hard-running competing stock cars fighting the clock in 1-mile acceleration tests and 1-mile time trials. A record-breaking pace with record-breaking wins in both events by Chevrolet. Sebring, Florida, March 1956. 5 2/10 miles of slick straightaway and treacherous curves. One of the toughest road race courses in the world. And a grinding 12-hour endurance run for racing and production model sports cars, with Corvette proving itself the hottest sports car in America. Gardena, March 1956, a California short-track racing oval. Every foot a challenge met and won by Chevrolet in a 1-2-3 winning finish. These are highlights of a few of the many stock car events held throughout the year from coast to coast. And as in these annual Daytona Speed Weeks, all regular production cars, standard and sports models, compete under the uniform rules of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. Every event is an exacting test of a car's ability to perform, an opportunity to prove engineering superiority, a chance to display those outstanding performance features that are the trademark of a winner. And here are official NASCAR results written into the record book. Results that substantiate Chevrolet's claim to leadership on the racing strips, and thus also on the highways. In 1955, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Gardena, California, Flat Rock, Michigan, Toronto, Canada, Baltimore, Atlanta, and 11 other short-track wins for Chevrolet. A new record of 658 points, more than 3 times the number tallied by its closest competitor. And in 1956, Chevrolet once again is far out in front of its closest competition, increasing its national point standing from last year's 3-1 margin to this year's 4-1 lead. That's the Chevrolet habit, to come out on top in these tremendous power performances. The pulsing runs against the clock, the exciting contests of men and machines. But there's more than thrills and excitement in this growing American sport. These are performance tests in the public proving grounds where a spectator can see what a car can do and give him an idea of why the car that wins so consistently on the tracks is also the nation's performance and sales leader. To get a better idea, a real bird's eye view of these winning Chevrolet performance features, let's look in on this demonstration race. It's a work session for top-ranking stock car drivers preparing for a big coming event and driving their choice, Chevrolet. This race will be run under exactly the same conditions as any official stock car race. All of these Chevrolets are production models, engineered and built the same as any found on a showroom floor. The gas comes from the public filling stations. It's the same that's used in all stock car races. This isn't the first run for any of these battle-scarred cars. Along with the drivers, they've chalked up plenty of mileage and wins in the toughest competition. Outside of the dents and paint scratches, they still roll at peak performance. And this will be a hot run, too, with Jim Reed joining in. He's racked up the short track championship 3 years running, driving his choice, Chevrolet. Thoroughly checked, the cars swing out for their pacing run around the track. They jockey easily, getting the feel of the track, and hold formation for a good start. The flagman steadies and readies them, and they're off. With that sparkling get-up-and-go power, so smooth on the takeoff, and soaringly smooth as the cars pick up speed, responding instantly to the touch of the toe on the accelerator. Almost frictionless transmission gives the peak efficiency that makes these and any Chevrolet the hot car. That's what pays off in these bruising short-track tests. Surgingly smooth power that never lets up and never lets a Chevrolet driver down on racetrack or highway. There's that power and some in reserve, too, when that extra bit of throttle is called for, just like these drivers call for it during a race. And they get it, too. That surefire accelerating response, so vital for safe passing and getting out of the tight spots. And in these short track races, run in quarter-mile ovals that are practically one continuous turn, there are nothing but tight spots. Hitting those horseshoe corners at breakneck speed without excessive braking and drifting is quite a feat. But these drivers plow right into and out of these turns without any let-up. Or as they say, they stick their foot in it and keep going. That's because they know that the car they're driving's got body balance, and that it hugs the road as tight as the tires hug the wheel rims. They don't fight these curves. They ride them as fast as the natural physical laws will let it. And always with the solid assurance that the car will come out of the turns without rocking and rolling all over the track. Because even at this pace, pounding around the turns lap after lap, the car handles with smooth, easy responsiveness. All race steering provides maneuverability that makes the difference between a champion and an also-ran. This goes not only for the racing driver, but the everyday driver as well. And it's a comfort for the everyday driver to know that at any speed, he's got his hands wrapped around the safe, responsive steering wheel of a Chevrolet. During the long, lap-consuming, mile-eating turns around the track, about the only stop any of these cars ever makes is to change a tire or gas up. That's because Chevrolet is engineered not only to be kind to the car, but also to be kind to the owner as well. Under all everyday driving conditions, hardly any of which can duplicate the rugged routine of this racing oval, here's the car that provides fatigue-free, enduring, safe, and economical driving all the way down to the last lap. And here we are, after a long lap-churning run coming into the final laps. Just one more to go. Around once more into the last turns. And across the finish line, the winner. They're all winners right from the starting line down to the finish. In this run with Chevrolet pitted against Chevrolet, the only difference between the winner and the runners-up is the caliber of the man behind the wheel. But when the chips are down, it takes more than driving skill alone to win consistently and smash records. It takes a car that can come up with a tremendous stock car performance like this one at Darlington, South Carolina, April 26, 1956. A 1956 Chevrolet 210 blazes around the track to shatter a current record established in 1954 and set a new endurance and performance record for the NASCAR 24-hour closed course endurance run. 2,438 bruising miles, 3,546 car-killing turns around this 1 3/8 mile oval. An average of 101.58 pace blistering miles per hour for 24 consecutive hours, topping the previous record by 280 miles, with an increased average speed of 11.69 miles per hour. And this includes the time taken for gas stops and tire changes. Here is a roaring true-to-life test to the utmost of endurance, of shocks, spindles, hubs, wheels, steering arms, brakes, and every mechanical unit and nut and bolt in the car. A 24-hour run, rigorously demonstrating the overall road pounding a car can withstand, far in excess of everyday driving demands. In this amazing run, the record-blasting Chevrolet stood up to the test, demonstrated beyond an iota of doubt or argument that this is the hottest car in its class, that Chevrolet is America's automobile leader, the swiftest, surest, safest performer on the highways today, and a big winner all the way.
Here we've just had a complete teardown of a Ford and a Chevrolet. These are Ford parts, ready for comparison with the similar parts of a Chevrolet. Here they are, the Chevrolet parts. And our comparison is to cover all categories: economy, comfort and convenience, performance, and safety. Let's begin with safety. A big factor in safety is a driver's ability to see. The total of Chevrolet's glass area is this much bigger than a Ford's, 166 square inches. And remember, Ford's glass shortage is not confined to any one spot as we show here, but is distributed throughout all areas. Quite a difference, eh? Another safety factor. How does the steering equipment of the two cars compare as far as quick responsiveness is concerned? Well, Ford uses a steering gear of the worm and roller type. These parts rubbing together fight each other, create extra friction. Chevrolet reduces friction to an absolute minimum with a modern steering gear that turns on these easy rolling ball bearings. Take this example of how friction can tighten up delay turning, and how balls lessen the friction, make turning smoother, quicker. Quick response means safety. And while we're on the matter of safety, you've heard a good deal about padding and seat belts. Padding is great, fine, but only a barrier can give real protection. And Chevrolet offers a big extra barrier called the plenum arch. Chevrolet does, Ford doesn't. Chevrolet safety is built in. Now, what about economy? Our comparison starts with body finishes. We know an owner can scrape the side of his car no matter how careful he is. But to repair a Ford finish is one thing, and to repair a Chevrolet is quite another. Ford has an enamel finish. A retouch job means redoing a whole section, including baking in a large oven. Chevrolet's lacquer finish can be retouched with no baking, no delay, no excessive labor cost. That's economy. Batteries make a good example of what we learned. Chevrolet's battery is warranted a full 36 months. Ford's only 21, which gives Chevrolet owners 15 extra months of economy. In brake linings, Ford uses rivets, and rivets jutting through make half of the lining useless. Chevrolet's brake linings are bonded, and thus Chevrolet's brake lining gives service through its entire thickness. Economy. We compared the V8 engines of the two cars for driving economy, particularly as to stroke and compression ratio. Chevrolet's 10% shorter stroke means Chevrolet pistons travel less distance up and down, and less travel, less wear. Another plus in economy for Chevrolet. Compression means power derived by squeezing, then releasing something that wants to expand. Ford's top compression is 8.4 to 1. Chevrolet's is higher, 9.25 to 1. Chevrolet higher compression squeezes tighter, gets greater power from the same amount of gas. Chevrolet is designed to use less oil, too. Every time a Ford V8 owner changes oil, he buys 5 quarts. A Chevrolet V8 owner needs only 4. The 1 extra quart involves considerable extra expenditure on the part of the Ford owner during the life of his car. What about gas mileage? In a supervised test, a Ford and a Chevrolet were put on a track, driven at the same rate of speed until each used up the precisely measured gallon of gas in its sealed tank. Here is the Ford finishing, while the Chevrolet continues on to record a full 30% better gas mileage than Ford, up to 80 extra miles per tankful for Chevrolet V8 owners. And drivers of a Chevrolet 6 have a comparable advantage. Our comparison went into comfort and convenience, too, starting with seating comfort. Here is the rear seat of Ford's most expensive series. No foam rubber. Chevrolet Bel Air rear seats have foam rubber cushions as standard equipment. No extra cost, just extra comfort. Further, Ford's rear seat has 2 7/10 inches less hip room than a Chevrolet. 2 people can sit comfortably, but a third makes a difference. Here is Chevrolet's rear seat. Now let's use Chevrolet's extra space, extra convenience and comfort. Convenience and inconvenience even in deck lids. Here's Chevrolet's, a deck lid that's truly counterbalanced. Now, Ford's. Well, it doesn't always do that. Rear seat passengers enter even the most expensive Ford in darkness. Chevrolet Bel Air riders have the convenience of automatic light from the instant any door is opened. A comparison of the ventilating systems of the 2 cars is very interesting too. Ford riders breathe air that enters their car here. There is no other vent, save this one directly in the exhaust gas area. Air for people riding in the Chevrolet enters here, up out of the gas area. Air taken into a Chevrolet is cleaner. We've left the comparison of performance until last. We started knowing Ford's 6-cylinder engine is rated at 137 horsepower. Chevrolet's at 140. Ford's top V8 has 202 horsepower. Chevrolet's has 205. The first test rated the distance traveled to attain speeds for passing in critical highway situations from 60 to 75 miles per hour. Ford reaches 60, then 75, with a time lapse of 7 2/10 seconds. Now Chevrolet. Chevrolet reaches 60, goes on to 75 in only 6 3/10 seconds. Thus, Chevrolet's power bonus for passing, at least 100 feet less than Ford on the dangerous side of the highway. Another power comparison, the ability to climb hills. The test started with both cars even, both traveling at the same speed, 20 miles per hour. At a given signal, both drivers stepped on the gas. Hill climbing power. No question about which car holds the Pikes Peak record, nor why. Chevrolet power. Finally, a comparison of top speeds. Not for highway travel, but for automotive engineering proof. Chevrolet and Ford at 50 miles per hour, and Chevrolet at 50 uses only 9. Now watch that Chevrolet reserve power go to work. The final proof of superior power in Chevrolet. In this comparison of 1956 Fords with 1956 Chevrolets, Chevrolet has proved itself to be superior by every standard. In economy, from better mileage to far less use of oil. In safety, from better brake linings to better steering. In comfort and convenience, from the use of foam rubber in rear seats to instant lighting when rear doors are opened. In power, from greater acceleration to greater top speeds. There is a difference in the cars of the low-priced field, and the pluses are with Chevrolet.
Prescription for travel. It's the new Motoramic Chevrolet. More than a new car, a new concept of low-cost motoring. a revolutionary new ride. Only the new Chevrolet has new Glide Ride front suspension that absorbs road shocks. And new anti-dive braking control for heads-up stops. New power with the new Chevrolet valve and head turbo fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. New touchdown overdrive gives greater driving flexibility and far greater gas savings. And new show car styling lets you travel proudly in the new Motoramic Chevrolet. With perfect timing, Chevrolet introduces the new Motoramic Chevrolet. What's new? Everything. New show car styling, 3 new drives, new synchro mesh transmission, improved super smooth power glide, or new touchdown overdrive. A revolutionary new ride, a new high-level ventilation system for greater comfort, and new 4-fender visibility. And power, sensational performance and economy with the new Chevrolet. Turbo Fire V8 engines and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. It's the new Motoramic Chevrolet, more than a new car, a new concept of low-cost motoring. There's a new era in automobiles. It's the new Motoramic Chevrolet. What's new? Everything. 43 distinctively different interior styling choices. New fabrics, new colors, new treatments. And a whole new design in bodies by Fisher. This new design provides great new strength, rigidity, and roominess. New 4-fender visibility with the big new sweep sight windshield and total glass area increased more than 18%. A revolutionary new ride plus new power. The new Chevrolet Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. It's the new Motoramic Chevrolet. You, easier and prouder than ever in your new Motoramic Chevrolet. It's show car styling. Enjoy a revolutionary new ride with new Glide Ride front suspension, new outrigger rear suspension, and new tubeless tires. Thrill to new power with Chevrolet's new valve and head Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. New smooth action ball race steering and new 4-fender visibility make it easier than ever to park. And there's new pivot pedal brakes and new anti-dive braking control. It's more than a new car, it's a new concept of low-cost motoring, the new Motoramic Chevrolet. What's new? Everything. The new Motoramic Chevrolet is new from the ground up. A completely new chassis brings a revolutionary new ride, almost unbelievable riding smoothness. There's new power with Chevrolet's new valve and head Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. New visibility in all directions with over 18% more total glass area, including a new sweep sight windshield. And new show car styling with a whole new design in bodies by Fisher, plus 43 distinctively different interiors. What's new? Everything. It's the Motoramic Chevrolet. Lo and behold, the new Motoramic Chevrolet introduces the big, long look to the low-price field. Each bright new model features show car styling all its own with a whole new design in bodies by Fisher. A big new sweep sight windshield curves back to vertical corner posts. All 4 fenders can be seen from the driver's seat. Enjoy a revolutionary new ride with wonderful new Glide Ride front suspension, just one of many major advances in a completely new chassis. Here's a sleek new concept of low-cost motoring with new ideas and young ideas. What's new? Everything. It's the Motoramic Chevrolet. Do it yourself. Pick out the newest new car in America, the new Motoramic Chevrolet. Each bright new model features show car styling all its own, with a whole new design in bodies by Fisher. Hat room, hip room, and shoulder room are all increased. Here's a revolutionary new ride and new power with the new Chevrolet Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. Here's new floor-fender visibility with Chevrolet's big new sweep side windshield. Underneath, there's a completely new chassis featuring wonderful new glide ride front suspension and new anti-dive braking control. To experience a whole new concept of low-cost motoring, drive the new Motoramic Chevrolet. Looking at the new Motoramic Chevrolet. More than a new car, a new concept of low-cost motoring. Here's looking at new power with the new Chevrolet Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. Here's looking at new driving ease, new synchro mesh transmission, improved super smooth power glide, or new touchdown overdrive. Here's looking at new show car styling, introducing the big long look to the low-priced feel. And here's looking at new and even more luxurious interiors, 43 distinctively different interiors. Yes, here's looking at the newest new car in America, the new Motoramic Chevrolet. Your first date with the new Motoramic Chevrolet will start you going steady. It's a whole new concept of low-cost motoring. What's new? Everything. New four-fender visibility, new show car styling, and 3 new drives, including new synchro mesh transmission, improved super smooth power glide, or new touchdown overdrive. A completely new feeling of stability and safety on the road with wonderful new glide ride front suspension and new anti-dive braking control. And new power with the new Chevrolet Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. Drive the new Motoramic Chevrolet. More than a new car, a new concept of low-cost motoring. Say, be my guest, and say it proudly in your new Motoramic Chevrolet. It has so much that's inviting. New show car styling, a whole new design in bodies by Fisher, and a revolutionary new ride with new glide ride front suspension. New power with the new Chevrolet Turbo Fire V8 engine and 2 new Blue Flame 6s. 43 beautiful new interiors, 2-tone color harmonies keyed to exterior colors. New four-fender visibility with the big new sweep side windshield and total glass area increased over 18%. Say it proudly. What's new? Everything. It's the new Motoramic Chevrolet.